Hi, my name is Ariel Polar.
Hi, I'm Paul Hickey.
I'm Kat. I'm Shamla Prayaga.
My name is Kunyaki.
I'm Dr. Terry Fisher.
And I am a conversational design lead with Ford Motors Company.
Senior Director of Marketing and Business Development at Creativity Inc.
I'm an associate teaching professor at the University of Washington's Information School.
I'm a digital transformation consultant at Voiceflow Consulting.
I'm a UI designer at CloudTax.
I'm a growth marketing strategist.
I'm a conversation designer.
CEO of Data Driven Design.
A conversation and UX designer working on a voice interface in the drive-thru.
I am the CEO of Marvi, an Alexa champion and conversation designer.
I'm in Valencia, Spain.
I'm from São Paulo, Brazil.
I'm a Voiceflow builder in Phoenix, Arizona.
I'm from Mexico City.
I'm from San Francisco.
This is Andres Salgado from Colombia.
I'm from Brazil.
I live in London.
Based out of Ireland.
Located right here in sunny Jacksonville, Florida.
We're designing and developing voice apps on Voiceflow.
And I'm teaching the next generation of voice designers on Voiceflow.
And I design on Voiceflow.
I build on Voiceflow.
I build on Voiceflow.
I build with Voiceflow.
And I design on Voiceflow.
Love it. Would use it every day if I could. Wish I could design everything on it.
Welcome to V2.
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 Join the conversation on Twitter using hashtag VFV2 and @VoiceflowHQ. Each tweet counts towards our giveaway, and winners will be announced during our social. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Voiceflow V2. We couldn't be more excited to have over 1,000 Flowsters from across the globe joining us here today. We have indie designers and developers and Fortune 500 customers all here to learn about our new V2 platform. Special shout out to our Voiceflow community in Japan who's up at 4 a.m. to be with us here today. We have a lot of product announcements to go through, but first I want to talk a little bit about why we started Voiceflow and what exactly we're building. We started Voiceflow a little over 2 years ago, initially by launching children's stories on Alexa. However, as we were designing, prototyping, and launching these apps, we found that the tools that were available to us, flowcharts, Word docs, and spreadsheets, weren't very useful. We found it was hard as a small team of designers and developers to work together with the tools we had available to us. And so we built Voiceflow. Eventually, we opened it up, and soon 55,000 designers and developers had signed up for Voiceflow to do the same. Fast forward a year, and over 200 million interactions every single year are being hosted on 7,000 distinct Alexa skills and Google Actions built and hosted on Voiceflow, making us one of the largest development platforms for Alexa skills and Google Actions. We're growing faster than ever before, having quadrupled our customer base in the last 6 months alone, meaning we're going to be able to continue to ship amazing features that you are going to love, like V2 today. Last year, however, well, it was a tough year, to say the least. And it forced all of us to reimagine the ways we work together. And so at Voiceflow, we responded by adding new collaboration tools like Canvas markup, real-time collaboration, commenting, and shared workspaces to make it easier than ever before for teams building conversational products to work together even when you can't be in the same room. However, there's always been one feature, and especially last year, that we continued to hear from customers. When can I use Voiceflow for channels outside of Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant? We actually have been thinking about this for a long time, and it's always been our plan for Voiceflow to be the single source of truth for all your conversational channels. And so 14 months ago, we began to work on this challenge. We began to re-envision and re-platform how Voiceflow was built so that it could be your single tool to design, prototype, and launch conversational apps for all conversational channels. At a high level, Voiceflow V2 adds new professional design and prototyping features, while also extending its capabilities to launch and work with any conversational channel. This includes IVR, messaging channels, web chat, voice assistants, and custom assistants. Our goal at Voiceflow is to be your company's central hub for your conversation designs across all channels, in the same way that you have a central hub for your visual designs like Figma and Adobe XD. V2 makes big strides in this direction by focusing on 4 key areas. One is our design and documentation abilities. Conversation design requires high fidelity design capabilities, context modeling, dialogue management, but also being able to manage the readability and documentation standards of the design. This is where you often see flowchart tools are underpowered but great at readability, and prototyping tools are highly powerful but they're too hard to read. We're trying to find that balance at Voiceflow so that you can have highly contextual, engaging conversation designs that are also very shareable and very readable. This is a big focus for us at V2. Our second focus of the design workflow is better prototyping and user testing. When you're prototyping conversational experiences, you want to be able to start with just the happy path, prototype just what you need, but be able to layer on additional complexity and eventually reach a one-to-one high-fidelity experience that you can do amazing user testing with. This is our goal at Voiceflow, and that's not just voice experiences or chat experiences. This is also increasingly multimodal experiences, and you're going to see a lot of this today at V2. Our next focus is handoff, specifically the handoff between design teams and development teams. At Voiceflow, we want to bridge this gap as much as possible so that designers are able to effectively communicate their vision for the design and pass off great design artifacts as well as full code bases so that the development team can quickly pick up from where the designer left off and get to market faster. But we'll get into that in just a little bit. And lastly, we want to extend Voiceflow's unique no-code capabilities, which allows you to publish live apps to Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant. We want to extend this capability to all conversational platforms, so that right from Voiceflow, without writing a line of code, you can design, prototype, and launch conversational apps to any conversational channel.
With that said, Voiceflow is and will always be a product with community at its core. Building our experiences and our product around the community, your feedback, your teams, and your workflow. And with the help of many of you in the audience today, we've been able to put together much of what we're unveiling. And we hope that you're as excited as we are. To showcase our new and enhanced features, we're going to show you how to build a custom banking assistant ground up. We'll start by going through the design workflow, passing off through prototyping, and ending in development. And by the end of this, you'll be able to see how you can deploy an experience like this across various channels, from Alexa to Google Assistant to IVR, web chat, or even your own custom assistant. And we'll be making this project available for download following the event. So hopefully, by us walking through this project, we can inspire you to think about how you can use Voiceflow and our new features to support you in your new projects. We have a lot to cover today, so to get started, I'm going to pass things off to Anna, who's going to walk us through our new and enhanced design and documentation workflow.
Every conversation is different, but every conversation needs structure. For many designers, flowcharts, copy, Excel sheets, and a series of other decentralized tools slow down their creative process. Conversation design has grown as both a science and an art and shows no signs of slowing down. Voiceflow customers are designing for thousands of use cases, whether it's in-car custom assistants, conversational drive-thrus, modern IVR systems, mobile voice banking, or custom end-to-end assistants. And we're just scratching the surface of what's possible. Despite the vast number of use cases and possibilities, designers are all looking for the same thing: a tool that allows them to design engaging and contextual conversations, and a tool that accounts for the broader team workflow. A tool that accounts for contextual design, for readability, and for shareability. And that's why today, we at Voiceflow are so excited to showcase our new design and documentation experience. As conversational experiences continue to grow in popularity, consumers expect even more natural interactions and capabilities from their everyday experiences. They want to speak more naturally with their devices. They want to be able to ask an unrelated question in the middle of an intent and not lose context. And most importantly, they want to be understood throughout various parts of the conversation. Designers are looking for a tool that supports complexity without adding complexity to their workflow or creative efforts. This is simply not achievable with a flat two-dimensional design or a mishmash of multiple tools. They need to design for customization. They need to design for layered context. They need to design for multiple channels, multiple modalities, and multiple environments. They need to design both linear and nonlinear responses. They need better ways to communicate, not just with their designs, but with their team. And everything you need can be found in Voiceflow V2.
Hi, I'm Michael Hood, Head of Product Design and one of the co-founders here at Voiceflow. I'm going to be walking you through Voiceflow's conversation design and documentation experience, and showing some of the new features we've built just for you. But first, as a conversation designer, I know it's important to start with a little context. So what is Voiceflow and who is it for? Well, Voiceflow is a visual collaboration tool to design, prototype, and create conversational experiences across any channel or modality. You can think of us like Figma for conversational AI. However, unlike Figma, when you design an experience in Voiceflow, it's actually built with real code under the hood that you and your team have full access to. This allows for teams of designers and developers to work faster than ever, as design can pass off high-fidelity prototypes, JSON files, interaction model exports for platforms like Dialogflow, or even a fully production-ready codebase, all generated by the designer without touching a line of code. Now that we've set the context, let's dive into our Voiceflow canvas.
The first thing you'll note about Voiceflow is its high-fidelity canvas design experience, which you can navigate easily with either a trackpad or mouse. The intuitive drag-and-drop canvas makes it really easy to just jump in and start designing, while still providing designers with the ability to customize your canvas to feel like your own. For example, I'm a fan of straight lines, so I'm going to go ahead and just quickly make that change. Great, looking good. Voiceflow supports live, real-time collaboration for teams to work together faster. Hey look, there's Braden and Rob making some edits to our project in real time. Voiceflow also allows for managing multiple user permissions so that you can invite both editors and view-only collaborators to your project. But, like many teams, the Voiceflow team is working remote these days, so often we're collaborating asynchronously. I want to have an API call here in my project, so I'm going to go ahead and tag Anna with a comment to let her know. And send. Okay, great.
We're off to a good start. Let's fast forward to future Mike to view the completed design and dive into Voiceflow's advanced conversation design features.
Okay, here we are on our final Voiceflow bank design, which we'll make available in the Voiceflow template workspace later today. Let's go ahead and dive into some features.
As we see more and more teams using Voiceflow to create increasingly complex conversations, it's more important than ever to be able to modularize your designs into reusable components. This makes your design workflow both faster and more organized for everyone involved.
In Voiceflow, we can create reusable components called flows. I have a flow here in my project titled Payments, which we can open up. Looks good. And in the future, when I want to use the payments flow, I can simply reference and reuse this existing component.
While we all start by designing our happy path, it's rare for a conversation to go well on the first try.
Voiceflow makes creating repair paths easy, with the ability to create contextual, escalating reprompts that narrow in scope if the user doesn't match any intent. You can also create a no reply response if the user doesn't respond at all.
Great conversational experiences should have the flexibility to allow the user to give us all the required information and more all at once, or none of it at all and still be given the correct prompts to capture the information we need gracefully. Designing for this use case is difficult as the designer is managing many states.
We make this easy with our dialogue management feature. Once we've created entities, we can declare them as required, meaning the assistant will automatically prompt the user for that entity if it wasn't already provided. This means that users can provide us with everything we need in a single go, or absolutely nothing at all, and every case is covered by our design. We can even go as far as to prioritize which entities we should prompt for first.
As conversation designers, one of our biggest challenges is being able to effectively communicate our work. Whether it's with other designers, our development team, or external stakeholders. Often, our designs need more context outside of what exists for functional purposes.
In Voiceflow, we make readability and design documentation easier with Canvas markup. Markup gives us the ability to add labels, images, and even hyperlinks directly into our designs to make it more readable, shareable, and beautiful. And because Voiceflow is browser-based, your designs are always accessible and up to date.
Designing for context is one of the pillars of conversation design. Voiceflow has the most advanced context design tooling of any platform out there. We split up context design into 4 main areas: dialogue context, context switching, nested context, and situational context.
First, Voiceflow allows for dialogue context, meaning we can layer our dialogues to be contextual to the current state of the conversation. For example, if the user asks for help in our home flow, we'll give them a general help message. But let's say the user asks for help when they're in our payment flow. We want to give them help that's contextual to payments. Next, let's look at context switching. No one likes rigid linear conversations. With Voiceflow, you can design both open and closed dialogues, which allows for context switching. For example, here I'm checking my account balance, but I can quickly switch to another top-level intent that I've made available to the user at all times. When designing, sometimes we want to allow our user to switch contexts, but once they've achieved their goal, we want to be able to return them to where they previously were in the conversation. Voiceflow makes it easy to design for these nested contexts using commands. For example, let's say I want the user to be able to ask for the nearest branch location of Voiceflow at any time in our conversation. Then, after we help them, we want to be able to bring them right back to where they previously were in the conversation. Let's give it a try.
The closest branch is at 11 Winneva Street. 11 Winneva closes at 5 p.m. today. The closest branch is at 11 Winneva Street. Okay, sending $25 to Rob today. Is this correct? Okay, I have made that payment for you. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Okay, great. While context can take many more forms than what I've described today, we'll end off with situational context, which allows us to design contextual experiences dependent on the customer's unique situation, such as the day of the week, whether it's the customer's first or second session, or their language preferences. We can achieve this in Voiceflow using conditions and logic to create conditional flows within our conversation dependent on our situation. For the developers in the room, you can even go a step further and write custom JavaScript directly into Voiceflow, or leverage APIs to pull in live data, or even pull in data from just a spreadsheet. As a member of a team designing and building conversational interfaces, we have a lot of projects on the go at once. With Voiceflow's shared workspaces, we can manage our workflow with a built-in Kanban system to see at a glance the status of all of our projects. I can invite stakeholders or clients directly to our workspace as view and comment-only collaborators. Or I can even build an internal component system or template library to manage design consistency across all our projects. For larger organizations, I can create and manage multiple team workspaces to ensure no one workspace becomes too crowded. Voiceflow's workspace system is built to be flexible and configurable to your team's unique workflow.
All right, our design is looking great, and now it's time to hand off and export to our stakeholders for review. Design to development is an incredibly important section of the design workflow, and we have a couple of different options available to you inside Voiceflow.
First, we can export as a PNG or PDF, which when paired with markup, gives our stakeholders a high-level view of our conversation. Next, we can export as a .vf file, which allows other designers to save and download our project. Or, our development team can pull any relevant information they want from it, as the .vf file is a JSON structure that contains our entire design, including the context structure and our responses.
Okay, hopefully this gave you a better understanding of Voiceflow's incredibly powerful and easy to use conversation design and documentation features. I'm gonna go ahead and pass it over to Rob to show off Voiceflow's new testing and prototyping capabilities.
Prototyping is an extension of your design. This is the phase in the project's workflow where designers and teams bring their conversations to life and are able to test, learn, and iterate on their original ideas before they're launched or moved into development. At Voiceflow, our platform helps you design as close to parity as possible, whether that is for Alexa, Google Assistant, IVR, chat, or custom assistants. Each step you design on our canvas represents real code that allows anyone, whether it's the designer themselves, a teammate, or a user, to experience prototypes as though they were the live product. Prototyping is more than just an iterative stage between design and publish. It's a foundational tool in every designer's toolkit. It lets you run rapid prototyping so you can hear your ideas in action, discover all the necessary edge cases and repair paths, and interact with all the possible paths through your experience. This speeds up your process by allowing you to interact with any design with the push of a button, quickly make changes, and replay those iterations in seconds. Prototypes enable user testing so you can get customer feedback in your designs even before you launch. With live prototyping, you're able to test your design with customers to discover valuable feedback and issues before you write a line of code. Whether you're running moderated in-person sessions or remote unmoderated tests, Voiceflow will support you learning from your customers. Prototypes create a much more engaging, interactive experience when demoing with your stakeholders, giving you a better tool to communicate your ideas, concepts, and designs to your team. And lastly, prototypes create better developer handoff. Beyond the flow, prompts, and response content of your project, there is so much more information that developers need to build a functional conversation experience. The interaction model, user states, context, and logic system of your conversation design can all be demonstrated and communicated with your prototype, making it a crucial artifact in your handoff to developers.
At Voiceflow, we believe that prototyping is the catalyst for great conversation design. And as more designers and their teams push the boundaries of what's possible with voice and conversation design, we know that they need tools that better embody the end user experience and the platforms that they're building for. With each new push, we're closing that gap between the design and the development workflow, making it easier for teams to build one centralized source of truth across all of their design projects. And here are just a few of the philosophies and features that make that possible. With our no-code development platform, we make it easy for anybody, no matter their technical background, to build a design that's run on true code. That means that with each project that's created in Voiceflow, it comes fully loaded with its own dialog manager, making it easy to do that handoff for development, better inform live produced apps off of that design, or inform how you can run it. Although each of our prototypes are just as powerful as those generated with code, we understand that more advanced users and developers sometimes require a little bit more flexibility or customization when it comes to their projects. That's why each one of the projects in Voiceflow comes jam-packed with loads of customizable features and blocks. This enables anybody to be able to inject code where they need, to access APIs to enhance their prototype or their design, or export to a JSON file, a .vf, or raw formats, if that works better in their workflow. We know that translating design into code means that we need to support a pipeline between those two environments. With each project in Voiceflow, we make it easy to create a strong pipeline of information between wherever you host it and the design itself. So whether you choose to host it in the Alexa developer console, or perhaps even on your own, with your design, we ensure that that code is sound and speaks freely to whatever platform you choose to publish to. Because each prototype is interactive by nature, this means that you don't have to limit yourself by sending just static assets or requirements to your developer teammates. This means that you can share a fully immersive, interactive experience or individual functional components to make it easier for them to understand your design. Meaning that you can share the interaction model itself, the dialogue manager, or even just response content if that's what's needed. Our goal with prototyping is to create a common language between designers and developers, and to create a common artifact that speeds up and simplifies the handoff between these two teams.
The testing experience in Voiceflow has been created to provide the designer and their team as much context as possible about the experience being created. The quality of your conversation designs are often hard to evaluate until you hear and see them in action, so we want to enable you to switch seamlessly between your design workflow and testing and back again. Conversational experiences being designed on Voiceflow are increasingly multimodal, so we want you to be able to test every single modality of input and output that your users would have available to them. And when things go wrong and you uncover those dreaded unhappy paths, we want to make sure that you have the tools to diagnose, understand what went wrong, and figure out how to fix it. Let's take a look at how this works inside the Voiceflow test tool. We know you want to jump quickly from your designs into your prototypes to test, so we're optimizing our prototype tool for quick access. Jump into a test with a keyboard shortcut to begin from your project's start, or hit the play button on any block to jump into your testing from that design.
Okay, I have made that payment for you. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Once your test begins, you can manually navigate back and forth through the experience to quickly replay portions and test different paths. Make a transfer.
Who should I send this to?
Actually, let's go back. Show me my spending history.
How many days of transactions should I show?
In the test tool, we want to give you a 360-degree view of your projects so that you can get as much context as is needed to create a great design. You can interact with your projects in all the ways that your users would.
Hi, how can I help you?
Whether that's with suggestion chips, text input, or voice input. Make a $25 transfer to Emily.
When should I send this?
And new in Voiceflow is support for visuals. You can view all of the on-screen aspects of your conversation design in line with the voice and text experience. February 23rd.
Okay, sending $25 to Emily on February 23rd. Is this correct?
Yes.
Okay, I have made that payment for you. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Whether this is mockups for your custom in-app assistant or fully interactive APL code from your Alexa skill, you can test the complete multimodal user experience that you're building right here in the test tool. And when you're finally ready to stress test your designs, you have the ability to configure each test to represent different user states. So if I, for example, want to see how this handles sending a $100,000 e-transfer to Emily, I can change those variables and run the test again. If things go wrong, simply enable the debug mode to show you all of the back-end logic for your conversation so you can quickly identify where things have errored. And finally, to get a true sense of your project experience, it needs to be powered by a proper NLP/NLU. We have recently introduced smart prototyping into the Voiceflow test tool. This allows you to train your project's NLP/NLU using all the data that you've already designed into your interaction model. Each intent, utterance, slot, and slot value will be used to train your prototype so that it has all of the intelligence and flexibility that a live assistant would offer. Anytime your model gets updated, we'll let you know when it's time to retrain it right here in the test tool. And with the push of a button, you can train that model. Now your testing will be sure to match all of the utterances that are relevant to your project's model.
Hi, how can I help you?
I really need to make a transfer ASAP.
Who should I send this to?
And for the highest fidelity testing possible, Voiceflow offers one-click uploads to the Alexa Developer Console and the Google Actions Console. This enables you to quickly upload your projects to their developer environments and use each platform's proprietary NLP/NLU in their development tools, or even on device, to test your projects. With the click of a button, you can hop over into the developer environment and begin your test.
Welcome to Voiceflow's Banking Assistant. How can I help today?
That's a quick overview on how the Voiceflow test experience is being built to support your designer and team workflow. Now, let's take a look at how it can support your testing and feedback collection.
Shareable prototypes give you the flexibility to customize your experience to suit your brand, whatever assets you want to share, or even toggle whether or not it's a voice-only, chat-only, or multimodal experience, really allowing you to take control over the prototype that the users that interact with it experience, making it one step closer to what your launch experience could be.
With our multi-channel banking assistant project, we want to test this experience across each channel we're designing for, whether it's Alexa, IVR, in-app, or website chat. For each of these channels, we're going to want to customize the prototype experience to match, making it easier for your stakeholders and customers to experience your design as it's intended. First, we'll take a look at our Alexa project. For this prototype, we want it to behave exactly as it would when testing on Alexa's developer environment. So we'll select the voice and dialogue option from the share options. When you open this link, you can run your tests with the prototype using the voice input, and the transcript will appear as you interact.
Welcome back to your Voiceflow banking assistant. How can I help today?
Send a transfer to Emily.
For how much?
$50.
Okay, sending $50 to Emily. Should I take care of that now?
Next, for our in-app banking assistant prototype. For this experience, we relied heavily on visuals. In this project, we've actually used visual steps to transition the image shown in each turn in the conversation. And when you're ready to test, we'll select the voice and visuals option from the prototype share menu. You can just copy the link right there. And when we open this on a mobile device, we get a full screen visual experience where the user can interact with their voice.
Hi, how can I help you?
To input a response, the user just needs to touch the screen. Show me my recent transactions.
How many days of transactions should I show?
30.
You have spent $6,420 in the past 30 days. Would you like more detail?
Yes.
Here are your 5 most recent transactions. Anything else I can help you with?
Up next, we'll configure our prototype for our bank's website chat. For this, we'll select the text and dialogue option from the share menu. When we test it, it will give us a fully functional chat experience that allows the user to interact by typing or by using suggestion chips. Finally, we'll jump into our IVR banking assistant. To best test this, we want to simulate the call experience as much as possible. To recreate that, we've added a single visual step at the start of our project with a dial pad image. This will show on screen for the entire duration of the test. And when we select the voice and visuals option and open that link, we'll get a near one-to-one experience that a user would get with an actual IVR just by starting the conversation.
Good afternoon, welcome to VF Bank. Please have your client card or credit card ready for input. Tell me, how can I help you?
Hey there, help me make a transfer, please?
Sure thing. To get started, please enter your 10-digit client card number.
This level of flexibility not only offers a more extensive look into your prototyping experience, but also makes it easier than ever to create a true mock of your experience before launch. This makes it easier for users to understand your vision and easier for you to collect data on their reactions.
While enhanced prototyping and design are great for design and validation, for many, the process doesn't end just there. At Voiceflow, we not only want to create the best-in-class design tool, we also want to create the easiest way to hand off your projects from design to development. And for that, we're going to pass things off to Tyler and Liart to walk through our enhanced development features.
Hey everyone, here at the Voiceflow engineering team, we've been hard at work to make Voiceflow the most dependable and extensible creative tool for all channels and use cases. This is marked by a monumental shift to open sourcing all of our conversational components so that there is no limit to what businesses and creators can build on Voiceflow. You'll be amazed at the level of customization that Voiceflow can now offer. Now here's a small taste of everything that's now possible with your Voiceflow project.
The current balance on your Visa account is $6,420. Would you like more details about your Visa account?
The diagrams you create on Voiceflow are beautiful to look at. They present complex conversations in a simple design language. However, these diagrams don't inherently do anything by themselves. It's the Voiceflow dialogue engine that brings your conversations to life. You're probably already familiar with this engine since it powers all your existing Alexa skills, Google Actions, and test tool prototypes on Voiceflow. And now with this engine, you can run your Voiceflow project on any interface. This will be incredible for prototyping and launching your vision. The ultimate goal is to allow you to design and create your project with our incredible Canvas system, and let you fully own the production and execution with access to our dialogue engine. Over the past year, we've rebuilt the dialogue engine from the ground up to be incredibly versatile, ready to adapt to any channel. For our select customers who want to tinker with the engine, it is highly modular, allowing you to mix and match conversational components such as natural language processing, dialogue management, and text-to-speech, and much more. For example, you could build a Raza chatbot or have Amazon Lex NLP along with Google WaveNet TTS. But even without any modification to the engine, we offer an end-to-end solution out of the box. You can make use out of our hosted engine, the same one that drives the test tool, to power your conversations. And for those already developing on Google Assistant and Alexa, all these changes will mean even more support for native features to supercharge your workflow. You'll be able to hook up custom analytics, define assistant behavior, and tweak details like never before. Let's talk about all the new features.
Here at Voiceflow, we understand how painful the handoff between design and development can be. That is why when building our dialogue engine, we aim to provide teams with the best experience while prototyping and developing, as well as making that transition as smooth as possible. We know that developers require flexibility and extendability in the frameworks they use, but we are also focused on improving their productivity. We believe that each phase in the creation of a great conversation should add value to the final product and avoid spending time on repeating the same work. To do that, we built an SDK that allows the developer to repurpose the work that the designer has already accomplished. This means that every design on Voiceflow is deployable and ready to be customized. No more duplicating work between prototyping and developing. Our dialogue engine and SDK ecosystem have so many cool features, so I wanted to go over some of the core ones with you. Our dialogue engine is a ready-to-use service with no configuration required, reachable by our users via the web. We have also built an SDK ecosystem with libraries you can use to interface with our engine from your project with any programming language. We decided to make all of this open source, so you can make use and contribute into our ecosystem even for niche technologies. Once deployed, our dialogue engine enables the designer to make continuous updates to the content and flows of their project with zero work required from the developer. Updates to your Voiceflow project will be available instantly, allowing users access to changes without any additional pushes or backlog. The biggest pain point while building a conversation experience as a developer is handling state management. As your project scales, code can get very complex. For this reason, many apps on the market rely on linear and unnatural paths. However, conversations are evolving, and to support the growing need for more complex and customizable experiences, we've developed a brand new way to handle state transitions for you. With Voiceflow V2, the flows within your project get translated automatically into our engine to support any transitions, no matter how complex they get. Conversations are not region-specific. Our users come from all over the world. That is why our system currently supports 19 languages with more set to come. We wanted to make our dialogue engine a ready-to-use service with minimal configuration required. That is why we added a series of advanced features that are a common requirement for most conversation apps. Our new dialogue engine comes with natural language processing and dialogue management out of the box, enabling your conversation experience to be smart and flexible to the user's utterances. Another common requirement for conversation apps is text-to-speech ability. We have now baked that into our engine, allowing you to choose from some of the most sought-after voices in the industry, like Amazon Polly, Google WaveNet, and Azure. And of course, we couldn't stop by only having audio output capabilities. With the new SDK, we took the automatic speech recognition system that lives in our canvas and baked it into our engine as well. So now every project, whether it's hosted on Voiceflow or elsewhere, supports both speech and audible responses. Voiceflow's drag-and-drop interface is great for quick iterations, but we know that developers require more. That is why we built a system that is easily extensible and open source. With Voiceflow's new dialog engine, you can add your own services and blocks based on your app's unique requirement, essentially allowing the developer to own their system while we help make them more productive. At Voiceflow, we take privacy very seriously. That is why we do not store any user session in our hosted dialog engine. But you don't have to take our word for it. You can go check out our open source project yourself. Finally, to give all our enterprise customers using Voiceflow some peace of mind, our new dialog engine can be self-hosted, meaning the development and execution phase of your conversation app happens entirely on your infrastructure, making it easy for companies to handle HIPAA, GDPR, CCPA, or any other compliances. From here, you can extend this modular system with your own NLP, ASR, and TTS components. Now that we have gone over some of the core features of Voiceflow's dialog engine, I'd like to show off how easy it is to use our brand new SDK. To showcase how easy it is to use our brand new dialog engine SDK, we have built a simple HTML page for a bank. This website also includes a chat window which we can try out right away. As you can see, we get "sorry, I have not been implemented yet." So let's hop on into the codebase and make our chat window come to life. Our codebase is very simple. It's mostly an HTML page in which we have already imported our dialog engine SDK, as well as some CSS for styling and some JavaScript to handle our chat window events. This logic lives inside of our controller, which makes use of the chat class to get a response to each user input. The chat class currently has two methods and a state attribute. Start interaction is used when our chat window is first opened. Interact is used every time the user submits an input, and the state tells us when the conversation has ended. As you can see, both start interaction and interact are currently only returning our placeholders of welcome, how can I help you, and sorry, I have not been implemented yet. To implement our chat class, we will make use of our dialog engine SDK, which I have already imported up top. The first step is instantiating the dialog client. The only required option is our version ID. Here we are reusing our bank chatbot Voiceflow project. The dialog client by default exposes a trace for all the speak blocks, but because we also want to handle visuals in our chat window, we are including the visuals type as well. Other advanced types like audio and chips could also be included in this array as well. Now, let's implement the start interaction method first. I'll replace this placeholder with the actual implementation. Starting our dialog engine SDK will return us a context which contains the state of the conversation as well as a series of traces which dictate the output that needs to be presented to the user. Let's create the function that processes this context. First, we make sure to set our state is ended with the value that the context is holding. Then, we take all the responses from the context and we pass them through the trace processor. To create the trace processor, we will make use of a helper builder from our SDK, which creates this processor for us. For each type we need to handle, in our case speak and visual, we pass a function which takes a trace and returns our output. Now the last thing left implemented is our interact method. In case our conversation has ended, we will call start again.
Otherwise, we just call send text. This returns us the context, and we handle it as we did previously through the process context method. This is all we needed to implement for our chat window to come to life. Now let's try it out. As we can see, the conversation flow from our Voiceflow project is now being used. We can see the visuals and the speak blocks being shown on the screen. Now let's go through the flow. I'd like to transfer money. I'll send this to Tyler, and the amount will be 25. The reason is for dinner. And yes, I'm ready to make the transfer. Here we can see the confirmation that the transfer happened, as well as a visual confirming the same. Now let's end the flow. So our chat window now is fully functioning by us implementing our Dialog Engine SDK in our project. The great thing about using our SDK is that the code presented in this example is identical for all use cases. A custom chatbot in your website like here, or a messenger bot will share the same SDK implementation, letting the developer focus on their app logic instead of having to develop the conversation logic as well. That is built on our tool, and any updates to Voiceflow project will appear immediately in your app as well. Now that we have seen how to use our SDK with just a handful of lines of code, let's talk about how to get access to our Dialog Engine and SDK ecosystem.
While this presentation may have been very hands-on and technical, you can be assured that even as we build out developer-oriented features, we will always have a plan to build a visual layer on top to allow for a seamless low-code experience. We will be slowly adding in easy click-to-upload integrations to these new channels, just like how you would upload to Alexa. As for next steps, we'll be providing a sign-up newsletter for anyone interested in receiving a developer SDK starting package through email. It will contain demos, documentation, and any additional details you need to get started running Voiceflow on any interface.
You've just seen some of the great new features that are now available in Voiceflow. So let's discover a new way to use them. I'm Nico, customer support and studio lead at Voiceflow. Let's talk about the brand new Voiceflow desktop app. We've created the Voiceflow desktop app to allow you to optimize your workflow and work faster. Voiceflow is a professional tool, so it deserves a desktop app like yours or Pro Tools. Voiceflow's desktop app receives live updates to ensure it's always in sync with the latest features, including everything you saw today at V2. And we've gone further and added custom plugin on top of it to take advantage of the new VF file and its flexibility for plugin creation. Thanks to its dynamic menu, you will be able to access the tools and links related to the project you are working on, such as Converter, Developer Console, Migration Tools, and more. The .vf files allows for the creation of a vibrant plugin ecosystem to build third-party tools on top of Voiceflow. For now, we are building these plugins ourselves, but we plan on opening up this capability to everyone. For starters, we have 2 plugins included in the initial desktop app release, including the project conversion tools and the dialog export. This is only the start for Voiceflow's professional desktop app and early plugin ecosystem. We can't wait to see what you do with it. The desktop app beta is available on Mac, Windows, and Linux today, and a link will be shared with you in the in-app product notification later today.
Our team has been hard at work, speaking with as many people in the community as possible, dissecting their obstacles, what gets them excited, and what enhancements they need in order to be able to create conversations in the future. We know that there's still so much left to be discovered, to be designed, and experiences to be tested. And that's why we're excited to unleash Voiceflow V2 to you and your ideas. It's creators like you that help to push the boundaries of what's possible with new interfaces just like this. And that's why we're so excited to empower as many of you as possible to build better conversations together. So whether that's through enhanced design features, smarter prototyping, or more flexibility through code, development, integrations, or increased channels, We're committed to supporting you and bringing your conversations to life. This presentation, along with the SDK documentation, templates, and the features announced today, will be made available to you following this presentation. Not to mention, we have a bunch of new workshops that you can dive into that you can check out at voiceflow.com/events, and a bunch of new announcements that are set for the next few weeks. But until then, and to get a little sneak peek about what we're talking about, I invite you to join us in our After Hours social, hosted by Dr. Terry Fisher, the host of the Voice Den. There, we're going to dive into Q&A, you can meet and greet with the team, converse with a bunch of people in the audience right now, and we'll be announcing the winners of our giveaway. So if you participated in that, you're definitely going to want to join. You can join us at crowdcast.io/e/VFV2. We thank you so much for joining us today for Voiceflow V2, and we're blown away by the level of support, engagement, and messages that we've gotten leading up to this. So thank you again for everything that you do, and we can't wait to see what you build.